Leader of the third party.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I've been reflecting on the Minister of Environment's answers to my questions yesterday. He seemed to think that I was asking if the former Premier had lobbied him since leaving office, but that's not what I was asking. My question was whether the former Premier had discussed the issue of referring Teck's pollution of the Elk Valley to the International Joint Commission while he was still Premier. What I think the public has a right to know is just how involved the former Premier was in advocating on behalf of Teck before he resigned as Premier and began negotiating with Teck about a board appointment to their spin-off company, Elk Valley Resources. I've read the entire FOI package. For over 12 months, 2 members of the Premier's office were point on the discussion around the referral of Teck's pollution to the IJC. In the end, 2 ministers sent a letter to the federal minister arguing she not refer the selenium pollution issue to the IJC. One can logically assume that the former Premier, whose staff were point, knew this letter was being sent by his 2 ministers. My question is to the Minister of Forests, the former Minister of Mines. Did he have conversations with the former Premier about whether or not to lobby the federal government to not refer the Elk Valley pollution issue to the IJC before the letter to the Minister of Foreign Affairs was sent in April 2022?
Minister of Environment and Climate Change Strategy.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. And there are very few issues, if any, with respect to the environment, with respect to international obligations relating to the environment, with respect to impacts of mining or work in which my ministry is engaged, about which I have not had numerous discussions and meetings. However, to the best of my recollection, I never had a discussion about the IJC with the former Premier.
Leader, third party supplemental.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I thank the Minister for a clear answer to that. It's fascinating because the FOI package paints a pretty clear picture. The issue is that the former senior decision maker of this province, whose staff members from his office were heavily involved, regularly involved in the discussions around trying to prevent a company's pollution issue being referred to the International Joint Commission. Less than a year later, that former decision maker announced that he is taking a position on that company's board. This isn't about metallurgical coal for steel or bicycles or windmills. This is about power, influence, and access. And ultimately, it's about public trust in government and how decisions are made in this province, something that the members on that side of the House used to be very passionate about. 47 lobbying meetings, dozens and dozens of emails from the Premier's office about the referral to the IJC, public expressions of frustration by First Nations on both sides of the border, a letter from 2 ministers to the federal government making the case against the IJC referral, and a former Premier announcing his board appointment less than 24 hours after his resignation as MLA. My question, Honourable Speaker, is through you to the Premier. What does the Premier say to the people of British Columbia in light of this timeline and these outcomes?
Minister of Environment and Climate Change Strategy.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I gave the member a clear answer yesterday. I gave the member a clear answer today. I mean, anybody can take a sequence of events and try to connect them. But I can assure the member, and I can assure every member of this legislature, that when positions are taken by ministers of this government or by the government as a whole, it's taken after a fulsome analysis of the issues that are under consideration. Now, the member would have the people of British Columbia believe that absent an international joint commission, no work whatsoever is being done on water quality as a result of metallurgical coal mining in the southeast of this province, and that is simply not true. What has been going on a regular basis for years is consultation with the Tanaha, consultation with the United States state governments, consultation and discussion with academics on both sides of the border about appropriate concentrations to set water quality levels. That's the work we do. That's the work we're continuing to do. That's the work to which we are absolutely committed, and we're committed to fast track that work, the acceptability, the agreement of the nations, the acceptance of a proper and appropriate water quality level in the Elk Valley so that the economy can continue to work and the fish and the people who depend on the water can continue to be safe. And an international joint commission doesn't accomplish that. It's the work with scientists, nations, and people on either side of the border that accomplishes that.